Well, hello there, and welcome to our weekly get together that we call the week that was. I'm Ken, that's Rick. We're both Minyards, and uh, hi, Rick. First of
Hey,
all,
how's it going?
fine. We're trying something new today, and I think we'll figure this out, but not necessarily today. We just thought of it this morning. I just thought of it and talked to Rick, and so we thought, well, why don't we just try to put this up live for subscribers? And that's what we're trying to do. We may have some people joining us, and if you do, welcome. Otherwise, we're going to do as we always do and just post it later. I also, Rick, looked at Facebook Live, and that's interesting. We couldn't do it this morning, but the way I see it, it's pretty simple. I would have to, for instance, sign on and then ask you to join me, and then we could do a dual thing, and other people could listen either. That may be one of the reasons it may be a little more difficult for us. But you're the tech guy. You'll be able to figure it out. Anyway, this is the week that was. You ready to go?
Sure, let's have at it.
On Sunday, the 27th, I had two subjects I talked about, and they tied together: America at War and Fair and Balanced No More. And the point I was trying to make is that we are at war. It's a political war, but a war nonetheless, and we have to embrace it as though we really were in a war, and all tactics, short of physical violence, of course, are on the table.
Well, Texas has fired the first shots.
Yes, they have. Explain that.
Yeah, they have basically cleared the decks to redistrict or gerrymander their congressional map, which will wipe out five Democratic seats in
Mhm.
Texas. And this was at the urging of none other than Trump, of course, and the Abbott and the Texas state government, of course, will fall right in line. And so they are marching ahead. And apparently, they've passed the first committee procedural, hurdle, whatever that is, and they're going to redistrict Texas, and there are five seats that are going to go away.
So this was at the
Democrat seats.
urging of Trump, of course, who wants to assure the fact that he can have a successful majority in the House going forward and do his worst. And they have a supermajority in Texas, so I guess there's a way to do that. I didn't think you could. I thought you had to just redistrict every 10 years.
Each state can do its own thing on that
I
part.
guess. In response, California also has a supermajority, a bigger one, I think, than Texas does. And our governor, Gavin Newsom, has said, okay, game's on, we're going to do it. And other blue states are, I'm sure, considering it as well. We hear from a lot of them. And that's what we're talking about at war. We can't, I think gerrymandering is the most undemocratic practice in existence.
Well, the way it's
Until we can get everybody to agree to play by the same rules, it doesn't work.
The,
We
the way it's described is instead of the voters choosing their politicians, the politicians are choosing their voters. And that's exactly
absolutely.
what it is.
We used to have in California the most jerry rigged districts that you can imagine. I mean, it was ridiculous. And a Republican governor by the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger is responsible, to his great credit, for creating a commission, a nonpartisan commission of 15 people who every 10 years get together and draw the lines up. And of course, when geographically people were relegated to vote, it came up Democratic because we have a lot more Democrats in this state than we do Republicans.
We have our Republican or districts or regions like every state
We
will.
have nine of them, right, out of 53.
It's really easy to gerrymander those out. You just start drawing lines and you gather up voters and all that. But the Gavin Newsom, this is a moment for him. If he has aspirations, he's going to be out of office after next November in 26, termed out. And this is he's being handed leadership on a silver platter. First of all,
Mhm.
California is prime because of the size of the state and the economic power and all that sort of thing. He's, young, energetic. He's everything Trump isn't. So he's being handed this. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
go
I mean,
run with it,
I think it will serve
run.
him well as a candidate in 28, and there's every indication that he's going to go forward with this. I think the other states will too. It's like uh, Trump and Abbott in Texas. They're This is Pearl Harbor. They're the Japanese attacking Pearl Harbor. We're the ones responding. I mean, you have to look at it that way. And
Oh,
that ties
sure.
into my other subject of fair and balanced no more. There are a lot of people that don't remember that when Fox News went on the air, they had the ridiculous, audacious slogan of fair and balanced. And they were no more fair and balanced then than they are now. But they were the first to do that, the first to become a right wing tool. And at that time, MSNBC was on the air, but they had Tucker Carlson, for Christ's sake. They had a mixed bag of comments, and that's all changed. And what we have to do, those of us who are on this side of the aisle, is support those who support us. And now it's more important than ever. That would be MSNBC. That would be so many of these podcasts that are out there. But we don't have much presence in terms of mainstream television or even cable television representing our point of view. It's just MSNBC.
Yeah, they've got these other Newsmax and OAN or whatever it's called, but again, those are the landscape has changed. Most people are, I think it's probably most at this point, are getting information and entertainment and all that from podcasts, and YouTube has become huge, enormous, and all of the influencers out there and all that. So
Right.
the battle is on, and there's a lot of them out there. You've got your Midas Touch and Occupy Democrats, I think, are two of the bigger ones, and even the MSNBC hosts are posting 15-minute segments on every day. You see Lawrence O'Donnell and all of their typically it's their monologues that end up there. So that's you just got to fight that.
Got to
But
find the people that are out there feeling as you do and support them, listen to them, do some of the things and participate in some of the things they're involved in. By the way, Jackie, my wife, Jackie, is out today at a march on the ICE headquarters in Camarillo, California.
viva la Jackie.
Viva Jackie, viva la resistance. And okay, let's go to Monday. Monday, Trump in Scotland. He came back from Scotland. I represented him as the ugly American. He's the kind of guy that used to be identified. Americans used to be identified with guys like him. They would generally have a cowboy hat on, and they were from Texas. So he is an exception to that rule. But he really is, and he showed it when he went over there to tour his golf courses. And there were huge protests in Scotland. They don't like him very much there.
No, of course not. I mean, they're smart, is why.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's and what does he do? He gets over there and talks about windmills, and I mean, he's
Oh,
such an embarrassment. I mean, he's such an embarrassment. And then he cheats at golf. You see the video pops up with him cheating at golf. He's just and golf is a sacred thing in Scotland. That's the Holy Land,
yeah.
and he,
Golf is funny. He cheats the way I used to play with somebody who did the same thing. They showed him his caddy in his case,
oh,
walking around with a cupped hand and the
dropped it.
ball inside it, and just casually drops it because he'd lost the ball, basically.
Well, he hit it into the rough, and he's not going to wade into the rough for God's sake. He's the president of the United States.
Yeah. But I think if you cheat at golf, that is a kind of a tip off.
Oh, there's I mean it's a metaphor for everything else in his life.
That's right. It really is.
It's just that's who he is. He's a fraud, and I posted a thing that while he was playing that first round, I said, has he claimed that he's won? Has he announced that he's won the club championships yet?
Right.
I mean, nobody believes that. Nobody believes it. We've
Well, I
seen these.
guess some of them do. I guess some of them over there in the other side on MAGA.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
guess
they
they
think
do.
he's a world-class athlete for God's sake.
I guess so. I also mentioned on Monday the 99-cent project, and so I'll take an opportunity to briefly mention it again here. It's for our subscribers. If you subscribe, you pay 99 cents in order to subscribe. That's pretty cheap. And you might think, well, 99 cents, what difference does it make? Well, here's the deal. That 99 cents, if we get enough subscribers, you can imagine what it could amount to. We're taking that amount and we're donating it to progressive, pro-democracy, anti-fascist causes, and there are a lot of them out there. One could be, for instance, PBS and NPR. They are defunded now. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting has gone out of business. They're going to try to help the local stations survive. So that might be one contribution that we would make, but it would be 100% of any money we receive from Facebook for subscriptions will go to one of these causes every month. And so I encourage you to do that. Come on over, subscribe to the Ken Minyard page, and you can find out how to do that easily by going to my regular page. Okay, Tuesday the 29th. Oh, I wanted to mention this. Egg Bach, a difference between you and me I had that day. I
Yeah.
think Rick thinks that I am a bit of a Pollyanna, that I just think everything's always going to come up roses because it came up with this slogan, Egg Bach, everything's going to be okay. It doesn't mean that. But on the other hand, I think Rick is a sort of sky is falling kind of guy, that he sees it in totally the opposite terms. And that's good. We have two different outlooks that try to support the same thing. Uh, but it seems to me you're happier if you have a progress. I mean, an optimistic outlook than you are if you don't. If you're worried all the time that the sky's going to fall.
Well, yeah, and it's not so much worried. I want to be motivated. I want to be inspired by someone. That's why I'm high on Newsom right now.
Mhm.
Finally, somebody's fighting back. I love what's her name down in Texas, the young African American congresswoman.
Mhm.
She's
Oh, she's great.
phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah.
AOC. I mean, they're fighters. They're fighting. They
Hey,
are.
right. Well, see, I agree with all of that. I just see I see the inspiration, and others whose name I don't even remember daily in Congress are confronting all those cabinet officials and other administration officials that are coming before them. They give them a hard time. I think we've got a lot of people that are speaking up. Just the people that I come across, 60 some thousand, 61,000 some odd followers on Facebook. That to me tells me that there are a lot of people out there, and particularly older people, by the way,
Mhm.
who really want to. Oh, let me change hats. Hold
Yeah.
on.
You have a whole hat rack right next to
Want
you.
to do something.
Uh, oh.
And so I just
Well,
think
we're like I
we're
said,
gonna.
we're the same. I mean, part of my attitude came along. I had my thumbs in my suspenders, man, when Biden came in there after January 6th, and all right, we're gonna clean this mess up. We are going to take care of business. Yep,
Mhm.
Joe Biden, he nominated Merrick Garland. Garland's going to go after this guy. He was clear. We caught him on video. We got these guys. And then shit. 4 years later, he disappears. He vanishes. This asshole gets elected again. You had him. And that's part of why I'm so bitter about everything and maybe pessimistic. If we never had a better shot at ending the reign of terror that is Donald Trump than that, and that's weakness to me. I'm sorry.
My only disagreement with that is that I'm not sure that it could have happened as easily as you think it could have. I think there are all government works in mysterious ways. Courts take forever to get the job done. So I'm not sure. You may be right. And I think we will only find that out as we hear all the books that are coming. Surely Merrick Garland's writing a book, and we'll hear his side of the story. But anyway, what I think is going to happen, and this is where I'm an optimist. I think in the 26th election next year, the midterms, I think we're going to kick some serious ass. I think we're going to win and win big. And that's what we need to do. Otherwise, I may come over to your side. If we don't, then I don't know what's going to
Well,
happen.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I don't. I would agree. I would say I hope we kick ass. I don't know that I say I think we'll kick ass because you see the polls. The Democrats are less, and maybe it's because the Democrats are less seen with less favor than the Republicans right now. How's that possible? Well, maybe it's because they feel like I do. They don't fight hard enough. If
Mhm.
that's the case, then okay, I think maybe there's hope, right? Because
Well,
it's not like we're going to vote for Republicans, but you
that's what I'm saying. I think that Democrats, first of all, the Democrats are like a mess. They're always in sort of chaos. The old Will Rogers statement. But there are a hell of a lot of independents like you. You are not a registered Democrat,
mm-mm.
and there are a lot of people like you who are going to vote with us, but don't identify as Democrats, and
Right.
they are party people.
Well,
So I don't know.
Those
I just,
those those
I just,
independents are the ones that they always say swing the election. And right now they're polling 70% to the left toward the
right,
Democrats.
right, and
So,
Trump's poll numbers have never been lower, and he
well,
always
that's fake. That's fake news stuff. That's just all fake.
right,
Those
exactly.
aren't, you
Oh,
can't believe the
let's
polls.
jump forward to the current discussion about his labor statistics numbers came out and showed that we really sucked in terms of jobs.
Mhm.
And what does he do? And what would a normal human being do as president? Say, we got to work on this. These numbers are troubling. Instead, he fires the person who headed up the division that made the statistics.
It's
I mean,
like
come
it's
on.
like your team goes out. Let's use baseball season. So we're in the middle of baseball right now. Your team goes out and loses 10-0. And you, as the general manager or the owner, go out and you say, we're going to fire our broadcast team
Yeah.
because that's what he did.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's calling. He said, "You made up the numbers, broadcast team. You made up the score. You can't fake this stuff." He tried the same thing with COVID. He said, "If we stop testing, we won't have as many cases."
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean,
People won't know about it. And
this
that's it.
guy, this the way this guy's brain works.
Mhm.
You don't like the numbers, you fire the messenger. Talk
And
about
change the numbers. Just change the numbers to fit what
change
you
them.
want.
It's not the way it works. If people aren't you can't fool a guy who's unemployed into thinking he has a job.
And his explanation is always, well, she was appointed by Democrat.
Of course. Of course.
Numbers, yeah, numbers are like facts, right? They are factual.
Well, there
And
are
the numbers
things that,
add up. And when you talk about conspiracies about how she was able to manipulate the numbers somehow, the number of people involved in these
of
numbers,
course, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they do all, they're the ones in charge of establishing the inflation rates so seniors get their COLA adjustments
yeah,
every.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this is science. These people crunch
This,
numbers,
and this is happening now, day in and day out, and this is why we're so concerned. How about the plane deal?
Oh, the Saudi or the
Yeah,
Qatari jet.
yeah. I mean, we got it. It was worth $400 million, and we take possession of. I say we. It's really a Donald Trump deal. We
Mhm.
take possession of it. We got to spend maybe up to $1 billion on retrofitting it with all the, security stuff and communications gear that it needs. So it costs a lot of money. It would cost that on another plane too. So that's okay. But the plane will probably not be ready. And by the way, the current Air Force Ones, and there's more than one, two of them, are 35 years old. So they're going to have to get new planes anyway. So far, so good, except for one little thing. The plane may not be ready until about a year left in Trump's term of office.
If that, if that.
Yeah, and after that, he gets the fucking plane.
Well, the Republicans in the Senate just voted to allow that to happen. Yeah, you can keep the plane. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so we got to do another plane on top of that. We've got to have two more new planes coming pretty soon. And how can that be? How can any self-respecting
This is
Republican
not
politician approve of that?
this is not just a Trump problem. This is a
Boy,
Republican problem. We've
thank you.
got to eliminate, I mean, almost like an exterminator would. You got to get rid of this infestation that we call the GOP.
Slimy. They're very slimy. They have no conscience. They don't care about their constituents. They don't care about the country. They only care about keeping their jobs.
They
And
they go to these. Did you see the footage of that Wisconsin lawmaker who just went into a town hall just yesterday or the day before, as we record this, and he just got annihilated in his town hall.
I did see that.
And but they see that and they say, "Well, we can disagree." No, these are the people you work for, you moron.
Yeah.
Vote these guys out. Vote every one of them out. And back to our gerrymandering discussion. Blue states declare war right back.
Yeah.
You've got to do it. They're more than, I mean, we're stronger than they are, folks, if you put your back into it.
And by the way, it's not going to end in Texas for them.
Oh,
Already,
Florida and Ohio. Those are two states that have already said, "Oh, huh, good idea. Let's kick that around." So it's going to happen more. You can't sit around and wait. This is I've been talking quite a while. You know this about, and this is I'm going to shock you. I think I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She talked about having a blue-red divorce. I think that might be where we're headed, and this is the impetus for that.
Mhm.
You want to gerrymander your states, you go right ahead, kids. We're gonna
Even
we're
even
gonna us
Eric,
blue states are gonna go off and we're gonna run things our way. You guys have fun. California is not gonna send $83 billion more than we take back anymore. We're gonna turn that money toward our blue state comrades. And I didn't use that word by accident, by the way. They're going to call us communists and all that stuff. Okay, but we're going to take care of things in the blue states. You guys have your quote unquote capitalistic utopia or whatever it is you're going to do down there.
point is, we got to do something. Eric Holder, who heads up an organization, I think with Obama, uh, to do away with gerrymandering, even he came out saying, "Game's on, can't do that anymore." The
Table
government,
that for a while. Table
yeah.
that. You got to fight fire with fire.
And what we should do after all of this, assuming we do as you suggested, is after we get back in power on a national level, outlaw gerrymandering, appoint commissions, and it can be state by state, but they have certain guidelines to go by. With computers now, geographically, it shouldn't be that hard.
It's not
Uh,
hard. Are
but
you kidding?
we do that on a national level rather than state by state. Okay, I'm proud of the fact that I went up until Wednesday without mentioning the Epstein files.
I heard about that. Yeah.
But on Wednesday, uh, I posted uh, I posted these two things. Well, first of all, South Park, which we'll talk about in a minute, but also I posted. This is how I described it: the Epstein files exist, and Donald Trump is in them. You cannot escape that is the case. I mean, clearly, that's true because otherwise he would want them released. As you said last week, any innocent man, any person who knew that he had nothing, nothing in there, nothing that he'd had done with Epstein that would come to light that could hurt him, would say, sure, open the files.
No, you've got a criminal enterprise at the top. This cover up is deep. And this is, if Democrats get in power again, you'd better go after Kash Patel, Bondi. All these people are engaged in a criminal conspiracy
Cover
to
up,
cover
yeah.
this up. You've got the FBI, who has apparently gone through and scrubbed Trump's name out of all those documents and other people. That
Well,
is a crime. And
if next Wednesday, if all of a sudden Trump says, okay, open the files, we'll know that they finished scrubbing.
right. Even Elon Musk is saying there's a cover up underway. Of
Yeah.
course there is.
Well, Elon Musk hinted, very strong hint, that Trump was a pedophile.
Well,
Remember?
he was the first one that kicked off this latest wave by
Yeah.
saying after was butthurt out the door, he said, Trump's in the files, in the Epstein files. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
he
nobody.
said more than that. He
You've
actually
got to
came
be
out.
the most demented, far gone MAGA brain to think otherwise. I mean, of course he is. Of course he is.
Okay, now I suggested later in the week, but it's a good time to bring it up now, that I think I know how he is in those files. Originally, I thought, well, he must have been a customer. Maybe he was diddling underage girls. Now I think maybe he's not because the files were the active era of Jeffrey Epstein was in throughout the 90s and early 2000s. During that period, he and Trump were tight. He described Trump as his best friend. So Trump had to know. Back in those days, guys didn't keep stuff like this secret. Maybe he wouldn't have mentioned the sex trafficking part, but he would have bragged maybe that. And I do like young girls, which Trump agreed with that he likes young girls. And so I think there's something implicating Trump as having been an enabler, as having known what was going on and not done nothing about it. I just think if he had actually committed one of those, committed the crime as Prince Andrew did, or I don't know if it's a crime, but had committed the act, that one of his victims would have spoken up, and they
They
haven't.
have. They have talked about
Well,
it. They're
I don't
scared to
know if they
death.
have. I don't know that they have actually. And if I think that's the most likely scenario is,
Michael Wolff disagrees with you. He says he's
well,
got.
it could very well be, but if not, it would be certainly
I'm not giving him a
close to that.
bit of the benefit of the doubt on this. I
Well,
think
it
he's
doesn't
fighting
matter.
so hard. He's not afraid of being aware of it. That he'd walk right past that, and people would say, "Well, he didn't commit the crime. He just didn't."
Well, yeah, you see the whole impetus for this sex trafficking thing comes from MAGA, comes from QAnon.
Of course.
They're the ones that have been raving about it, wanting to open the files. And I think if he is implicated in any way, whether it's as an enabler or one who committed these acts, it's going to be very hard for them to support that. I mean, I don't think they can, and I think he knows that too,
Oh,
and
don't
that's
don't
why.
sell him short. If he was only on his plane, or well, he never went to the island. That's
I
that
don't mean that. I don't mean that necessarily. I mean discussions that he had had, things that Epstein himself might have said to the FBI
he's in
about
the.
Trump.
I guarantee you, he's in those videos. They had tens of thousands of hours of tapes or something. He's in there. I'm sorry, but I'm all in on this one. I love. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist typically, but I'm all in. He's up to his. This is
Okay.
Trump.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question. This is always what comes back to my mind. If that's the case, Democrats had control of the government for 4 years. They had the files.
Mhm.
Why didn't they reveal it?
Because they're gonna get their hands dirty too. There are prominent Democrats and other people in that. It's not just limited to Trump, of course. There are all kinds of people
Well,
involved. There
who?
are,
Joe, maybe Clinton is the one that first comes up,
sure.
and I don't think that the Democrats would say, "Well, if he's in there, he
I
is."
don't
And
know.
I don't think they
Again,
would protect
I think
Clinton.
I think
Biden certainly wasn't in there.
no, no, Biden would. But I mean, I think there's like you said, Clinton was well known to pal around with Epstein.
Yeah.
You've got business leaders. I mean, Bill Gates was involved in that. You've got Kevin Spacey was mentioned in some
I
of that.
haven't heard any of those people suggest that we shouldn't open the files. You
They've
know,
been off. I don't hear them suggesting anything. I think they're kind of.
we're not talking, but
Yeah.
that's my point. I don't understand
They're
why
listen.
if
They're
he were actually a and I don't understand also why if those files said what they do, they would have early on with Pam Bondi saying she had the files, she was going to open them. So what did they discover between the time she said that?
well, why? But why haven't they been opened up then? That's my point. There's got to be reasons,
That's
and
what I'm saying. Did they discover something that they didn't know was in there? Did they
probably.
discover something between that time and the time they said nothing there, nothing there,
Well,
don't
the
worry about
word is back in May, Bondi went to Trump and said, "You're in the files. Your name is in all of these
it.
files."
After she'd said she was going to open them.
Initially, well, they campaigned on that. That was the big thing.
I know, but
Yeah. So
they
they
didn't
get
have
in there and they
access.
start. She says, "I've got stacks of these files on my desk right now, and all that stuff." Oh, um, Mr. President, you're in the files. There's nothing to the files. There's nothing in them. We're not going to release them. It stinks. The whole thing. It's an amateurish, sophomoric attempt at a cover up, and it's always the cover up. It's always the cover up. They
Always
didn't
did.
learn a lesson. So,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
if you can actually, as a Democrat, you can hope that they never open the files because it means the discussion is going to keep on going. The criticism, the speculation, we can draw any conclusion we want. We can say, damn right, he was his top customer. If we want, no, he wasn't. Well, prove it. Open the
yeah,
files.
yeah, of
So it's
course.
good. It's a good issue for us
And
to stay on.
And when they do open the files, they'll be redacted to no end. But there are people who have
Yeah.
seen this stuff. So that's the thing. I mean, are they
That's,
running? Are they afraid of being disappeared? I mean, these are.
you mentioned Michael Wolff. What does he say?
Oh, he's all over YouTube, all over YouTube. But with his comment, he's being interviewed everywhere, and he says just exactly what I said. There was a Epstein because he was going to be being Epstein's biographer there for a while, and he interviewed him extensively. And he didn't end up writing a book on him, but
Does he have tape on it?
he says he does, and he says he's seen pictures of Trump, pictures,
Well,
actual pictures.
why doesn't he reveal that?
I don't know. Legal reasons, I don't know. If he's afraid, he said, I have seen them. And apparently the Maxwell family, Ghislaine Maxwell's family, are a source of some of that stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, and
I mean, but
and okay, she's now been she's now been she was interviewed by Trump's personal lawyer, who's now the assistant
and
attorney general.
that's another thing. We get that. Go ahead and make
Yeah.
it.
What's the point of that? Anyway, after he's done, she gets moved to a country club out of
Yeah,
Florida down to Texas in this country club.
but it is in Texas.
Huh?
It is in Texas. So
Yeah, yeah, it's over in Texas now. So she's been her environment has improved quite a bit. Um, she was talking about she was and Congress, who was subpoenaing her, has now postponed that. Well, maybe we won't talk to her right away. This is such it's written it's
well,
this
they've even made noises about, well, Elaine Maxwell, she may not be that guilty.
oh
Uh,
my God.
and
She
this
was
is well,
convicted.
with the
She
sex trafficker. Some of the
uh,
other family, the family you're just talking about, his name I can't remember now, the one that committed suicide. The woman that was a victim.
oh, right.
Uh, yeah,
Guthrie.
they said that she was more of a pervert than he was.
Yeah, she was the one that apparently, according to Wolf now, too, I saw him interviewed. He said she was the mastermind behind the whole scheme.
Right.
She was the one who designed the pyramid scheme or whatever you call it, where you go out, you recruit young girls who then go and recruit for you and bring them in, and everybody gets paid up the line, for those massages and trips on the plane and all that stuff. This was her scheme.
Again, if he does pardon her, I kind of hope he does because I believe that will bring the house crashing right down on him.
Oh,
She is unpardonable as far as most of America is concerned. And if he does, I guess I believe he probably won't because of this, because it would just decimate his any support that he has.
you would think. I would think so. I mean, we do know she was involved in that whole pedophile thing, and I love his early comment when they asked about her going to prison when she was convicted. I wish her well. I wish her
Well,
well. Of course, if she does say something that he doesn't like, it'll be she can't be trusted. She's a convicted. I mean, he'll do
well,
his.
they spent like 15 hours talking to her, so they think they're going to get something. But first of all, if they get it after that, and she gets something, who's going to believe them?
But
I
this
mean, the
is
whole
this is
thing, it
a
just doesn't.
this guy, this attorney. Uh, uh, Trump's former personal attorney, he just committed a crime potentially. I mean, what are these people doing? Don't they understand? This never ends well for you people who get that close to him.
And
You're
they,
the mob lawyer now. You are Roy Cohn. You're the guy that goes with John Gotti into court. You know things that he's done. You now know. You know this. You know what kind of person he is. You're
so
not
it's
his
really
personal.
it's really a crazy setup that we got in Washington right now. Best understood perhaps through the eyes of South Park. That was my other
That's
comment.
that was a brilliant transition there. That was a
Thank you.
yeah.
Uh,
Years and years of practice.
don't try this at home because it's
What a segue. Folks, that's a professional at work right there.
but South Park, they got a 1.5 billion deal with Paramount. Now, Paramount is the one they own now, CBS, and they're owned by a right wing company, a family. I shouldn't say
The Ellisons,
yeah, the Ellison family, and they got rid of Colbert. Everybody is speculating as to whether they're going to get rid of 60 Minutes. I think undoubtedly they will. I don't know how soon, but I think they will. So now they've got South Park, which is arguably much tougher on them than any of the others. South Park's opening gambit, the first episode, was first of all, it was hilarious, but it was Jesus. It was
Oh, it
really
was brutal. Yeah, Trump basically what you take away from it. Trump has an incredibly micro style penis, he's having an affair with the devil.
which they love to show, by the way, his penis.
Oh,
Yeah,
all over.
he's in love with the
Yeah,
devil like Saddam Hussein was in their movie.
yeah. Oh no, he's taken over for Saddam Hussein now.
Yeah.
It's just yeah, no, it's brutal. And of course, Trump took the bait and they called them unfunny and all this stuff. Shut up, Don. Yeah,
Uh,
no, they're and this is just the first gambit, the first
and they expressed in this first episode, they were basically saying, "Fuck you, come on."
Yeah.
Take us on. We've got $1.5 billion. You want to come after us? Fine. And it kind of was obvious in that episode. Okay, on Thursday, something happened that was kind of surprising, I guess. The Feds, I put it down as our headline: Feds give Trump the finger. Trump wants the Feds to lower interest rates because he thinks that will stimulate business. Feds are saying, not so sure. You and your freaking tariffs, we've got to find out what that's all about before we make any precipitous moves. And so, of course, Trump wants to fire the head of
The
head of
Federal Reserve, Powell,
the
yeah.
Reserve. Yeah,
Well,
and
he's been trying to get rid of them, and then this Bureau of Labor Statistics firing, that's part of the Fed. They work hand in hand and all that stuff. They're the statisticians. But so yeah, this is a Stalinistic style takeover. On the same thing, you see Laura Loomer is apparently very well connected to Trump. She's got a pipeline. She's not an official of anything. She's out there now. They've set up a tip line for federal employees to rat on fellow federal employees if they aren't sufficiently loyal. This is a Stalinistic.
absolutely.
I mean, we are cascading into very seriously dangerous territory here.
And what all this adds up to, folks, is you can't just say, oh, well, things have happened. Don't worry about it. This is, as Rick mentioned, the way totalitarian regimes operate.
Mhm.
Stalin operated. He was the
Well,
best of all because
I posted a thing on our Facebook pages today. What did Stalin do back after the revolution? He came out in the 1930s, 36, I want to say. I found the quotes and posted up there, um, saying good times have returned to the Soviet Union. Our census, we are having more births than deaths. We are flourishing. We're gonna have this many births every year, and society is great, and all this. Kind of like what Trump does. How wonderful the economy's doing. We've got 1,200. Pharmaceutical prices are going down by 500, 800, 1,200%. That's impossible, you moron. Um, but Stalin was doing the same thing. Well, then the census taker, the guy who conducted the census a few years later, came out and said, we only gained 7 million people in the last several years. Well, that was a less than 20% of what Stalin's numbers were.
he executed him, I bet.
He disappeared. The
Yeah.
guy vanished.
Hmm.
Nope, nope, these are the numbers. These
Yeah.
are the numbers.
Yeah.
And the reality was way different than what Stalin was saying. That is what Trump is doing. He's trying to gaslight everybody to the extent that, I mean, you can't fake it forever. The numbers are what the numbers are. Their COVID cases happen whether or not
Well, his idea is that perception is reality, and he therefore will change the perception, and everything will be okay.
oh geez.
Okay, AWOC. Um, the okay. In any event, it's just amazing. But I go back to the Fed thing. I was surprised they didn't do anything, and that will undoubtedly piss Trump off. But they had two commissioners who voted to lower the interest rates, which
Mhm.
was unusual. Generally, they're unanimous. On Friday, I said, what is the real reason Trump broke up with Epstein? The story keeps changing. What is generally has been understood is that he and Epstein were going after this mansion, and Trump got it for $41 million, then worked a deal with a Russian oligarch for $91 billion. The guy never lived. Billion. No, no. Did I say billion? I meant million.
Million. Yeah, I was gonna
These
say.
B's and M's get
I know. We're dealing with numbers that don't mean anything.
yeah, 91 million.
Yeah.
And the guy never lived in it. The place was in disrepair. He finally just tore it down and split it up in three parts and made a few million on it, but not much by their standards. But so that was the story. That's the reason they broke up. Well, Trump now doesn't even mention that. He says it's because he poached one of his employees. The one he's talking about is again, what's her name?
Virginia Guthrie. Yeah.
There you go. And and I said, wait a minute. He's got all these resorts. He's this big, deal maker. He's flying around all over the world, and he's acting like an assistant manager at Mar-a-Lago by worrying about a massage employee that went over to Epstein?
Well,
That's not true.
the way he stated it, of course, is the big thing. He was stealing my people. He was
Yeah,
stealing my employee.
yeah.
They're my property, and that was the whole, sort of suggestion. He
Why
came in
wouldn't
and
he
started.
stick
I
with?
told him, "You don't steal. You don't steal my people." He did it
Why
again.
wouldn't he
So I
stick
told him,
with the
"You're
real
out of
estate?
here."
Why wouldn't he stick with the real estate deal?
I
I
don't
mean,
know because he's
that,
not smart. Because
that,
he forgot. He probably didn't even know that story.
anyway, but the behind all of that, he
Oh
never.
no! And then
Let me finish. Let me finish. Never once has he mentioned any kind of sympathy for what Epstein was doing to these girls.
no, but
He's not once said
he
that.
did say though that Epstein was a sleazy guy. He said something about that at one point too. That's why I didn't do it. He was a sleazy guy. Well, what happened to that?
And what happened those 15 years when you were with him? Did he just turn sleazy?
Well, and if he was sleazy, why were you palling around with him? And if he was sleazy, why didn't you make bigger stink out of it at the time when he was stealing your property, your people? I mean, it's just, of course, I mean, none of it adds up. People, snap out of it. Don't listen to what he says. It doesn't matter.
Have you ever heard Trump express sympathy for, I don't know, poor people, for
No, of course
sex
not.
victims, or he just doesn't
He's
have
he
any of that. He
No,
doesn't
he
have
has
any
no.
empathy.
There's no empathy button on him. There's no. He's That's why he's such a psychopath or sociopath, I guess is the proper term. He has the inability to have any sort of empathy. No, he's a one in a once in a lifetime
Thank
character.
goodness. The other thing I talked about yesterday, Friday, the 1st of August, I started a new feature, maybe a new feature called fan mail. I used to have it on my radio show where I would read letters from my fans, and it went pretty well. And this one just really caught my eye for some reason, and I thought I'd share it. I'm going to give you two versions. I'll give you the soft version and the hard version. Here's the comment from Larry Penland. Larry Penland. He said, "Shut the fuck, old man. Why are you running your trap? Just belaboring the obvious. I suggest that you record this shit on your phone and fall asleep listening to it." Or you
Little
could,
does he know you do that anyway.
right? So,
Yeah. Well, and your point being,
or you could put it this way: "Shut the fuck, old man. Why are you running a trap? Just belaboring the obvious. I suggest you record this shit on your phone and fall asleep listening to it." It could have been that. I mean, that could have been his.
yeah,
Uh,
you could depends on the delivery. I mean, that's what a good actor does is he explores the range,
yeah, yeah,
right?
exactly.
But no, I've seen you actually recording these things and fall asleep in the middle of them. So
Right. So I don't know what it is. There's something perverse in me. I really enjoy that kind of mail better, more than, and I don't want you to stop on this other, more than the really mail that's praising me. That I love that, and that's great, and it's wonderful, and thank you very much.
yeah,
But I really kind of really love the right
you got
ones.
a twisted sort of sixth sense of this is sixth sense of enjoyment out of that. You always have though.
Somebody said Rick ought to get on this guy. He has a different approach than you do. Because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just blocked him. And finally, today, the state of the resistance, which is just another way of talking about my 99-cent project. So it's repetitious. And I would encourage you again to join the 99-cent project, become a subscriber to the Ken Minyard page. And together we can really make a hell of a difference, really. A lot of money. Can you imagine if, say, 1,000 people came over to be members? $1,000 roughly could go to these worthy causes, and there's some very worthy causes out there, voting rights, for instance. And we could do that every month and spread it out. That makes me feel like we're really doing something,
Yep.
and that we could make America a democracy again.
You have your hat rack right next to your kid. Oh, that's
uh,
funny. I would wear a hat, but I don't want to, mess up my hair and stuff. So,
yeah, yeah. Well, I've got your hat here too, which says
oh yeah, that's
uh,
right.
I
I
wear
did
my
wear that. but you were up here visiting when I showed you that, and I could tell by the look in your eye. You didn't ask, but I said, "You want it?"
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's in my repertoire.
yeah.
I'm the Hat Man.
All right.
Done. That's it. Another version of what the that was the week it was. Now I don't know if we had anybody tuning into this. They may not have been able to because I may have put imperfect instructions up on the page. But we're going to try it and see if it. Let us know if you did look in, and we'll try to get it better next week. Anyway, that's it for me.